That was Mr. Ashton sitting back there on the trumpet, showing him some love. I am Mr. West. I have the honor and privilege of being the band director here at Lake Minneola High School, and we're going to share some awesome selections for you tonight, kind of going from coast to coast and time to time. We call this, I think the formal title I called this was a jazz journey, because we were going to touch a little bit of everything. In case you did not know, that was a Latin tune called Tiger of San Pedro, and it's been a lot of fun to work on, and it's certainly been a volume buster. We've been pumping out some volume on that one, so we hope you enjoy. Next up is going to be a classic swing tune entitled Minnie the Moocher, famously done by Cab Calloway, and it's actually going to require some audience help. So if you know this tune, please join us. I'm going to pass the mic over to my friend, who's going to help us direct us through it, Mr. Yondale, and when it comes to it, join us. Here we go. Here's Minnie the Moocher. Joshua Pictet is back there on trumpet. All right, our short time younger ensemble. This one you're definitely gonna know. This is done famously by the Miss Nina Simone. It is a tune entitled "Feeling Good." I hope you're doing that today on this beautiful day. I know we got some rain coming out here this evening, but I don't know. If you're like me, you kind of like that rainy weather. So here is Nina Simone's "Feeling Good." Shades of green. Let's go ahead and get ready. Stand up and get in line. Saxes, trombone, trumpets.
Alexander back there on sound trumpet.
I fall
give a shout out. Our trombone, first trombone you have up here is actually one of two of our freshmen. That was Mr. Trevor Morris, a freshman. Our second freshman, and this one we know is a freshman because he showed up 10 minutes late. That is Mr. Matias Restrepo back there on bass. Absolutely crushed it. This is where our guitar soloist would be playing a guitar solo. But we'll leave that up for your imagination, as you can tell, we don't actually have guitar soloists right now. So enjoy some elevator music. Maybe there's something going on up here in a solo. We've got an improv guitar up here. It's impressive. I like that. Mr. Caden Garay on the drum set back in the front. We're so proud of him. This, uniquely enough, is I'm only on my 4th year of teaching, and these ones were the guys that came into school with me. So they were my first class, my first little 14-year-old freshmen, and it's been a fun journey with lots of experiences and travel, and we've been around the country. So I'm so proud of them, and yeah, I'm gonna miss them. I'm looking forward to their futures, and I can't wait to see all that they accomplish. I'm not gonna cry. No, I already got it out. So they're waiting for it. I'm a big crier. That's for later. When we're out here at Summit Greens, I think we've been having this running now once a year. We love doing this. This is a great experience for these jazzers. So keep bringing us back. I do want to mention to our friends that may know me, I am actually leaving this position. This is my last couple of months at Lake Minneola High School. Yeah, me and my fiance, who is a native of Sweden, are making the move. So I will be saying, hey, from Sweden. But nevertheless, without me, you have this awesome group that is here for you. We want to play for you. So keep us coming back, keep these kids in music and keep them performing. We want to play for y'all. This is my favorite part. I hate this. See, long tones are important for good sounds on your instrument. So we're gonna see how long these guys can really hold this in tune with good sounds. I'm a trombone player, so I give it like 20 seconds max. I don't know. That can't go very well.
so much fun.